When a development team receives a request for a food delivery app and immediately starts writing code, they are operating in a vacuum. Without specifying the platform, payment gateways, or delivery logic first, the execution phase quickly triggers a cascade of errors and customer rejections. To avoid this breakdown, engineers use software project planning. It is a predictive modeling process completed before a single line of code is written. This phase acts as a check on the project's variables. It is used to set specific constraints on the time, budget, and scope of the development cycle. Without this structure, a project relies on guesswork rather than engineering. As we've seen, that lack of a roadmap is what leads to wasted resources and failed deployments. Project planning splits into objectives and activities. Objectives represent the required end state, the what and why. These success metrics include delivery dates, budgets, and quality standards. The activities path is the systematic pipeline. This roadmap details exactly how the team will reach those objectives. This separation is a functional necessity. Engineers must define the goal of the system before they can calculate the mechanics required to build it. The primary objective is successful delivery, requiring the software to exactly match customer requirements. This starts by clarifying the client's request. A general idea becomes a set of toggles: iOS or Android, payment gateway, digital cart, or real-time tracking. Once the requirements are gathered, the manager must define the project scope. Scope acts as a boundary by defining what is explicitly excluded. In a hospital management system, the scope might include billing and registration, but exclude pharmacy management. This boundary prevents the team from performing unnecessary work. Planning also sets objectives for resource allocation. This involves categorizing the necessary human resources, hardware like servers, and software tools like IDEs. Managers also set an objective for risk reduction. By identifying potential issues like server crashes, the team can prepare backup solutions before problems occur. Defining these objectives creates the conditions for the entire project. It sets the rules that prevent the development from drifting away from the original goal. To meet these qualitative goals, the plan must move into quantitative estimation. This begins with calculating the physical size of the unwritten software. The software's estimated size drives other project variables. A larger size scales the requirements for team size and time duration. Combining team size and duration with infrastructure needs like software licenses generates a total cost estimation. The timeline is then broken down into milestones, setting delivery dates for specific phases like design, coding, and final testing. These calculations turn an abstract request into a set of concrete constraints, allowing the company to track whether the project is staying within its financial and temporal limits. Once the objectives are defined, the focus shifts to the activities, the mechanical tasks required to reach those goals. This execution phase is a sequential algorithm. First is the feasibility study, a logic gate checking technical skill, budget, and time. If low, the project halts. If it proceeds, estimation translates software size into effort, allocating specific budgets for salaries and tools. Scheduling then organizes these resources chronologically, ensuring that requirement analysis, coding, and testing happen in the correct order. Throughout the process, the manager maintains control loops through team organization and risk management, assigning roles and monitoring for potential failures. These activities are the systematic tasks that build the timeline and budget that were outlined during the objective-setting phase. We can see how these two sides connect by looking at the planning for a standard food delivery app. If the objective is a 50 lakh budget, the activity is cost estimation. Delivering within 6 months maps directly to project scheduling. And the objective of maintaining high security is paired exactly with quality and testing planning. Every desired outcome requires a specific task to achieve it. Without this mapping, a project objective is just a preference without a plan. To ensure every phase of this process is covered, Engineers use a mnemonic checklist based on the word project. P is for planning resources, R for requirement analysis, O for organization of the team, and J for job allocation. These are followed by estimation of size and cost, communication and control, and time scheduling. This framework provides a reliable way to ensure no critical step is missed during the initial planning phase. Using these activities to meet project objectives leads to better team organization and more predictable budgets. A structured plan provides the framework for a stable architecture. It transforms a list of client desires into a set of predictable outcomes. However, these calculations depend on one variable we haven't defined. How do you measure the size of a program that hasn't been written yet? In the next module, we will break down the systems used to solve that problem, lines of code, and function point analysis.